There's a code, you don't talk, because if you do something, you're going to get retaliated against.
So much power in the hands of one individual who, as we can see, can be abusive of his power. I mean, this is things for which he should be going to prison, and instead they're keeping him in his position and retaliating against the officers who are brave enough to speak out against him.
This is exactly why so many law enforcement officers do not have loyalty towards we the people. It makes it almost impossible for them to honor their oath to the United States Constitution. Hey, what's up guys? Long Island Audit here, back again with another video. Officer Lacey Gonzalez stood up to her police chief and honored her oath to the United States Constitution. And what did she get for it? Retaliation and termination. Let's get into it.
Officer of the Year. That's her with the award. But after filing a complaint about possible acts of misconduct by her chief, the city of Fair Oaks Ranch fired her. Tonight, for the first time, Officer Lacey Gonzalez sharing her story.
There's a code, you don't talk, because if you do something, you're going to get retaliated against.
And that is what I hear from law enforcement officers across this country. They want to speak up against their tyrannical departments who are violating our constitutional rights, but they are terrified to do so in fear of retaliation, which is exactly what happened to this officer here.
The Night Team's Dylan Collier reports on the troubled tenure of Chief Tim Mooring and the city's decision to keep him on the job.
This footage obtained by KSAT Investigate shows a Fair Oaks Ranch police vehicle pursue a speeding car along Fair Oaks Parkway last fall. In the video, officers approach the car from behind as one of them recognizes the driver, Police Chief Tim Mooring. Multiple sources said Mooring was driving the seized Toyota sedan. One former employee telling KSAT Mooring has repeatedly sped along public roadways in city-owned vehicles to keep officers on their toes.
So let me get this straight. Chief Mooring uses unmarked vehicles to speed through his community, endangering his community in order to play mind games with his officers. Total corruption. This guy is unhinged.
KSAT could find no record Mooring was disciplined for the incident. Fair Oaks Ranch officials declined to comment.
To have so much power in the hands of one individual who, as we can see, can be abusive of his power, that's unfortunate.
It's more than unfortunate. It's tyranny, and it needs to be eradicated from our law enforcement agencies throughout our country.
Adam Murray is a former police officer turned attorney who now represents officers in employment disputes. One of his latest clients, Lacey Gonzalez, learned the hard way what can happen when you challenge Mooring's authority. A 14-page complaint authored by Gonzalez this summer accused Mooring of intimidation, making threats, and even being physically violent to his fellow officers. Gonzalez said she witnessed Mooring give a Fair Oaks Ranch police officer and animal control officer Adderall during a 2019 party, and then watched them ingest the prescription stimulant. The complaint also states Mooring unholstered his service weapon and pointed it at a fellow officer while on duty.
Those are crimes, ladies and gentlemen. A police chief, the leader of a law enforcement agency, committing crimes against his fellow officers. If he's willing to do that to them, imagine what he will do to you.
And in a third incident, Mooring is accused of shoving a lieutenant against a wall using both his hands. City leaders placed Mooring on paid administrative leave in August after learning of the complaint, only to reinstate him October 10th, stating the allegations were found to be unfounded or not sustained.
So the police chief gets a paid vacation funded by the taxpayers, we the people. An investigation takes place, and he's found of no wrongdoing. Does that sound familiar? We have investigated ourselves and have found no wrongdoing, which is why I'm a huge advocate for a civilian review board for every law enforcement agency. We, the people, need to hold our law enforcement accountable.
You would think at some point they would do the right thing.
Gonzalez says she was stripped of her field training officer responsibilities and no longer given opportunities for overtime. Then in early October, just as the city was preparing to reinstate Chief Mooring, Gonzalez was fired. By Murray's count, Gonzalez is at least the fourth Fair Oaks Ranch officer to be terminated or face termination after raising concerns about Mooring's behavior.
I mean, this is things for which he should be going to prison, and instead they're keeping him in his position and retaliating against the officers who are brave enough to speak out against him.
Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, this is happening every single day in law enforcement departments across our country. Officers are speaking up, they're getting demoted, no access to overtime, they feel like a pariah, and eventually they're terminated. In this case, 4 officers have been terminated for speaking out against this police chief, and he still holds his job. Murray said police officials cited a personal matter they had cleared Gonzalez for just 2 months earlier as a reason to terminate her. They're citing a personal matter which they had previously cleared her for as a reason for her termination. Can they make it any less blatant? And added claims that she had violated a Garrity order by speaking about the department's investigation into her. Murray said his client was simply seeking legal counsel. Gonzalez was also terminated for failing to report potential rules violations by Mooring in a timely manner. So she was terminated for a matter she was previously cleared for, and for speaking about the investigation into her, and for failure to report potential violations by the chief in a timely manner. So because she didn't tell everyone about her chief's criminal misconduct and his tyranny in a timely manner, she was fired. Sounds like corruption to me, ladies and gentlemen. To make matters worse, Gonzalez said the department issued her a dishonorable discharge, impeding her ability to work anywhere else.
It's next to impossible for you to even get another job in law enforcement. Have you come to terms with that?
This was my life for the last 6 years, so a lot of sacrifice was given to that department.
I want to be very clear here, ladies and gentlemen. Not only was Officer Lacey Gonzalez fired from her career because she had the courage to speak up against her police chief, she was also issued a dishonorable discharge, making it impossible for her to work at another law enforcement agency. We need more officers like Officer Lacey Gonzalez, not less. And because she did the right thing and spoke up, now she will never be a law enforcement officer ever again. I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope she does find another department willing to take her in. But this is exactly what we're talking about here. This sends a clear message to all law enforcement throughout our country. If you go against the thin blue line, you will lose your retirement, you will lose your overtime, your livelihood, you will be seen as a pariah, and we will make sure you are terminated if you do not back down. That is the thin blue line of silence, ladies and gentlemen, and it is powerful, and only we the people can come against it. We need to support these officers just like Lacey Gonzalez. This is why I'm making this video in support of her, to spread her story to an international audience. We need to expose chiefs like Chief Mooring. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most recent update written about this story. Investigation clears Fair Oaks Ranch Police Chief, reveals further dysfunction within department. Investigator claimed Officer Lacey Gonzalez filed complaints to conceal relationship with Sergeant. Letter shows Gonzalez was cleared of having an inappropriate relationship in August. Now, this is the logical next step for Tyranny. Now they go try and discredit Officer Gonzalez because she's exposed the police chief for all his criminal wrongdoings, pointing firearms at officers, assaulting officers, giving officers illegal substances. Yes, you heard all those things right. It's hard to believe, but it's becoming easier and easier for me to believe after covering all these stories. But that's why they're trying to discredit her now. On top of all of those allegations, Chief Mooring was speeding through his community in order to play mental games with his officers, endangering the lives of his community. This is exactly why this is all happening. Now they're trying to discredit her, saying that she had an inappropriate relationship with a sergeant, and that's the only reason that she is blowing the whistle on the chief and exposing all the tyranny and corruption within the department. But if you look further into the article here, she was cleared of any inappropriate relationship in August. She showed that letter to the reporter on this case. Now, the person who investigated this whole thing, I will say it was an independent investigator, but it's a former law enforcement officer that is now a private investigator, and he investigated the police chief and found no wrongdoing. Why can't it ever be a civilian review board? Maybe attorneys, somebody who is not biased in the least. You cannot be biased when you're handling these kinds of investigation. You need to be thorough, ask the right questions, and hold those responsible accountable. The police chief, in my opinion, should not be anywhere near a badge or a gun. These allegations are serious and they're happening all the time, ladies and gentlemen. We, the people, need to call out this bad behavior. We need to petition our grievances to our government in a peaceful manner and make sure that the mayor and the city councilman of this city of Fair Oaks in Texas does the right thing and relieves the police chief of duty and reinstates Officer Gonzalez. That will send a strong message to that department that tyranny and corruption have no place here. We will do the right thing. We will back our officers, not give them a dishonorable discharge where they can never become a law enforcement officer again. That's what they want, ladies and gentlemen. How many good law enforcement officers who honor their oath to uphold the United States Constitution have dishonorable discharges? It's quite ironic that you would be labeled as being dishonorable when all you're trying to do is be honorable and honor your oath to uphold the United States Constitution and our constitutional rights. But that is how law enforcement is keeping out all the good cops out of the police departments. Nobody wants to work in that toxic environment. The thin blue line is strong. These police unions, ladies and gentlemen, are strong. They do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. They get away with whatever they want. They cover it up. There's secret meetings. I've heard it all from law enforcement officers. None of them want to come on camera and talk to me face to face about the tyranny and corruption in their department because they're scared. They are scared. But I'm telling anybody who's watching this, any law enforcement officer out there, we will help you. We will try and help you and do anything we can so that way you can keep your job, or we can help you to expose the corruption in your department. So reach out to me in the email in the description below. But let me know what you guys think about this one. It is insane to me. This happens over and over and over again. I've tried to reach out to Officer Lacey Gonzalez to see if she's willing to come onto the channel and speak with us here. I haven't heard anything yet, but I will continue to do so. If she is watching this now, feel free to reach out to me. But let me know what you guys think about this one in the comment section below. As always, stay safe. God bless. I'll see you in the next video. Long Island Audit. Peace.